Imagine for a moment that your life is a story that is still being written, not a story controlled entirely by fate, luck, or circumstances, but a story shaped by the decisions you make every single day. Many people move through life believing that success belongs only to a select group, the people born with extraordinary intelligence, powerful connections, or perfect opportunities. But what if that belief is completely wrong? What if success is not reserved for the few, but available to anyone willing to understand how it works and apply the principles that create it? In this video, I want to talk to you about the ideas that separate people who simply drift through life from those who deliberately build a meaningful, successful, and fulfilling future. These ideas are not mysterious. They are not secret formulas hidden from the world. In fact, they are surprisingly simple, but simple does not mean easy. These principles require awareness, discipline, and consistent effort. Let's start with something that many people overlook: the power of starting points. Not everyone begins life with the same advantages. Some people grow up in environments filled with opportunity, support, and education. Others begin in situations that feel limited, uncertain, or even discouraging. It is easy to believe that where you start determines where you will end up, but history repeatedly shows that starting conditions do not define final outcomes. Many of the most successful individuals began their journeys feeling completely ordinary. They struggled in school, they worked low-paying jobs, they had no clear direction, they experienced doubt, confusion, and setbacks. In other words, they looked very similar to millions of people who never become successful. So what changed for them? The difference began when they started asking better questions. Instead of accepting their circumstances as permanent, they became curious about how success actually works. They began observing people who were already achieving the results they wanted. They studied their habits, their routines, their thinking patterns, and their strategies. And this curiosity opened a powerful realization: success is not random. Success follows patterns. Once you recognize that success follows patterns, something incredible becomes possible. If you can identify the patterns that lead to success, you can begin practicing those patterns yourself. Think about any skill in life: playing music, learning a language, building strength in the gym, mastering a sport. All of these abilities follow specific patterns of practice. At first, the skill seems difficult or even impossible, but through repetition and learning, improvement begins to happen. Success works the same way. It is not a mysterious event that appears out of nowhere. It is the result of specific behaviors repeated consistently over time. One of the most important behaviors in the success process is clarity. Most people move through life without clearly deciding what they want. They work hard, but they are not sure what they are working toward. They hope things improve, but they have not defined what improvement actually means. Without clarity, effort becomes scattered. Imagine trying to travel somewhere without knowing your destination. You could walk for hours, days, or even years, but you might never arrive anywhere meaningful because you never chose a direction. Clarity changes everything. When you decide exactly what you want to achieve, your mind begins organizing your actions around that goal. Decisions become easier. Opportunities become easier to recognize. Your energy becomes focused rather than scattered. One of the most powerful ways to create clarity is by writing down your goals. Writing forces you to think carefully about what you truly want. It transforms vague hopes into specific intentions. When a goal exists only in your thoughts, it can easily disappear or change depending on your mood. But once it is written, it becomes real. Your mind begins treating it as something that must be solved. And when the mind is given a clear problem to solve, it becomes incredibly creative. Ideas begin appearing, new possibilities emerge, connections between people, information, and opportunities start to reveal themselves. But clarity alone is not enough. The next critical principle is responsibility. Many people spend years blaming their circumstances for their lack of progress. They blame their upbringing, their boss, the economy, their education, or the actions of other people. While external factors certainly influence life, blaming them does not create improvement. Blame removes power. The moment you believe that your life is controlled entirely by outside forces, you also believe that you cannot change it. Responsibility works in the opposite direction. When you accept responsibility for your life, you reclaim control over your future. This does not mean every challenge is your fault. Life includes unpredictable events and unfair situations, but responsibility focuses on one essential truth. Your responses to those events shape what happens next. You may not control every circumstance, but you control your reactions, your decisions, and your actions, and those actions determine your progress. Another principle that plays a central role in success is self-discipline. Self-discipline is often misunderstood as punishment or restriction. In reality, it is the ability to choose long-term benefit over short-term comfort. Every day, we face choices between what is easy now and what is valuable later. Sleeping a little longer feels good in the moment, but waking up early might allow you to work toward a meaningful goal. Watching entertainment may provide instant pleasure, but studying a new skill could create opportunities that last a lifetime. Self-discipline is the bridge between goals and achievements. It allows you to take action even when motivation is low. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls depending on mood, energy, and environment. Self-discipline, however, is a decision. It is the commitment to do what matters, regardless of temporary feelings. Over time, self-discipline creates momentum. Small actions repeated daily become powerful habits. Reading a few pages each day becomes dozens of books over the years. Practicing a skill for 1 hour each day becomes thousands of hours of expertise. Saving a small amount of money regularly becomes financial security. This is the quiet power of consistent effort. Another crucial idea involves continuous learning. The world is constantly evolving. Technology changes industries, new knowledge replaces old methods, opportunities appear for those who are prepared. People who treat education as something that ended after school often fall behind, but those who see learning as a lifelong process continue growing year after year. Learning does not require formal classrooms. Things like books, audio programs, lectures, discussions, and personal experimentation all contribute to knowledge. When you regularly expose your mind to new ideas, you expand your ability to think creatively and solve problems. And problem solving is one of the most valuable abilities in the world. Every organization, business, and community faces challenges. The individuals who can understand problems and design effective solutions quickly become valuable. Another obstacle that often prevents people from pursuing their goals is fear. Fear appears in many forms: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of criticism. These fears can become powerful enough to stop people before they even begin. But fear often grows stronger when we remain inactive. When we imagine potential difficulties without taking action, our minds create exaggerated scenarios. We begin believing that the risks are larger than they truly are. Action has a remarkable ability to weaken fear. The moment you begin moving toward a goal, your attention shifts from worrying to solving. Each step forward provides new information and experience. Confidence begins to grow. Confidence is not something you wait for. Confidence is something you build through action. Another major influence on success is the people you surround yourself with. Human beings are deeply influenced by their environment.
The attitudes, beliefs, and habits of the people around us gradually shape our own thinking. If you spend most of your time with individuals who complain constantly, avoid responsibility, or dismiss ambition, it becomes difficult to maintain motivation. But when you interact with people who are optimistic, hardworking, and growth-oriented, their mindset begins influencing you in positive ways. They challenge your assumptions, they introduce new ideas, they encourage higher standards. Your environment either strengthens your ambitions or slowly erodes them. Time management is another area that dramatically affects success. Everyone receives the same 24 hours each day. The difference lies in how those hours are used. Some activities create enormous value, others simply consume time without producing meaningful results. Highly effective individuals learn to prioritize. They focus their energy on tasks that move their most important goals forward. This often means delaying or eliminating activities that provide temporary comfort but no long-term benefit. Planning plays a powerful role here.
When you begin each day with a clear list of priorities, your attention stays focused. Instead of reacting to every distraction, you follow a deliberate path toward completion of important tasks. Another theme that appears repeatedly in discussions of success is persistence. Very few meaningful achievements happen instantly. Most significant accomplishments require months or years of effort. Along the way, setbacks are inevitable. Plans fail, unexpected obstacles appear, progress sometimes slows or stops. At these moments, many people quit. They interpret difficulty as a signal that they are not capable or that the goal is unrealistic. But persistence changes the outcome. Persistent individuals treat setbacks as temporary events rather than permanent conclusions. They analyze what went wrong, adjust their approach, and continue moving forward. Each attempt teaches something valuable. Each mistake provides information. Eventually, those lessons accumulate into experience, and experience becomes skill. Over time, skill leads to results. Another deeply influential factor in success is mindset. The way you interpret events shapes how you respond to them. If you believe that challenges are proof that you are incapable, you will avoid them. But if you believe that challenges are opportunities to grow stronger and smarter, you will approach them differently. Optimistic thinking does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing interpretations that empower action rather than discourage it. When something goes wrong, an optimistic person asks questions like, "What can I learn from this? What could I do differently next time? What opportunity might be hidden inside this difficulty?" This mindset transforms problems into stepping stones. Leadership is another skill closely connected to personal success. Leadership does not depend on a job title. It is the ability to influence people through example, communication, and vision. A leader clarifies goals and encourages others to contribute their strengths towards achieving them. They focus on solutions rather than blame. They create environments where people feel motivated to perform at their best. One of the most powerful leadership strategies is modeling the behavior you expect from others. When people see someone consistently demonstrating discipline, honesty, and dedication, they naturally feel inspired to match those standards. Another important concept involves personal standards. Your life tends to reflect the standards you accept. If you tolerate laziness in your habits, mediocrity becomes normal. If you accept poor communication or disorganization, those patterns repeat. But when you raise your standards, your behavior begins to change. You expect more from yourself. You prepare more carefully. You pay closer attention to details. You deliver higher quality work. Over time, others begin recognizing those qualities. Opportunities often flow toward individuals who consistently perform at a high level. Long-term thinking also plays a major role in success. Modern culture often encourages instant gratification. Many people prioritize immediate pleasure over long-term growth, but meaningful achievements usually require patience.
Learning complex skills takes time. Building financial security requires consistent saving and investing. Developing expertise requires thousands of hours of practice. People who are willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term reward often experience extraordinary results. Another aspect of performance that people frequently underestimate is physical health. Your mind and body are deeply connected. When your body is exhausted or unhealthy, your ability to focus, to think clearly, and to maintain motivation declines. Exercise improves energy levels. Proper nutrition fuels mental clarity. Adequate sleep supports memory and decision-making. Taking care of your physical health is not separate from productivity. It is a foundation for it. Confidence also deserves deeper attention. Many people believe confident individuals are born that way. In reality, confidence is usually built through repeated experiences of effort and improvement. Each time you challenge yourself and succeed, even in small ways, your belief in your ability grows stronger. This growing belief encourages you to attempt bigger challenges, and each new challenge provides additional experience. Confidence and action reinforce each other in a powerful cycle. Another important idea involves the skill of success itself. Success is not a single ability, it is a collection of skills that work together. Setting goals, managing time, communicating effectively, solving problems, making decisions, maintaining discipline. All of these abilities can be learned and improved. When people treat success as a skill set rather than a mysterious gift, their approach to life changes dramatically. They begin practicing improvement intentionally. They seek feedback. They study people who have already mastered the areas they want to develop. This approach turns personal growth into a continuous journey. Gratitude also plays a meaningful role in building a positive life. Gratitude shifts attention towards what is working rather than what is missing. When people regularly acknowledge the positive elements of their lives, they create emotional stability. This stability supports resilience during difficult periods. Gratitude does not ignore challenges, but it prevents negativity from dominating your perspective. As you continue reflecting on these ideas, one theme becomes clear. Your life is shaped by the decisions you repeat every day, the books you choose to read, the conversations you engage in, the habits you practice, the goals you pursue. Individually, these decisions may appear small, but collectively, they determine the direction of your future. Every day offers an opportunity to move slightly closer to the person you want to become. Sometimes progress will feel slow, sometimes obstacles will appear, but if you continue applying these principles, which are clarity, responsibility, discipline, learning, persistence, optimism, and purposeful action, the cumulative effect can be extraordinary. Your life can become an example of what consistent growth looks like. And perhaps the most empowering realization of all is this: no matter where you start, the next decision you make can begin a completely new direction. A single decision to learn, a single decision to take responsibility, a single decision to pursue a meaningful goal. These small moments of choice gradually build the foundation of a remarkable life. So take a moment today to think about the direction you want your story to move. Decide what matters most to you. Write down your goals. Take one step toward them. Then tomorrow, take another and another, because the future is not something that simply happens to you. The future is something you build, one decision, one habit, and one action at a time.